You want to know how Marcus Garvey's an agent? That's good. That's real good. So welcome to the dark side of Marcus Garvey, where he do pretty much what all the immigrant class do, kiss the ass of YT people, but denigrate, disrespect, and say the most vile things about black Americans. Here in this letter to Ernest S. Cox, he praises the YT and say how his book Why America is the best book in the world. It's wonderful. In bold letters, you can see that he says the fact is the modern Negro is lazy, good for nothing, slumberer, right? And so we got to understand that the immigrant class is in their blood to do this, right? Because we understand the prerequisite of becoming an American or migrating to America is to be anti-black American and kiss the ass of the YT. This is another case where Marcus Garvey decided to really denigrate the black American people by calling them lazy. Again, another EDU site. Here's the full site for anybody that want to look it up. Oh yeah, for full context, for anyone that want to know who Ernest S. Cox is, here's a full description. Marcus Garvey worked with plenty racist, eugenics, KKK members. One of them being, another one is Walter Plecker right there on his left, whose sole mission was to erase the indigenous black Americans, so-called black Americans that was on the land, and remove them from Indian to colored and take them off their land. And Marcus Garvey worked to get them off the land and ship these people to Africa. Here's another article on Marcus Garvey working with the white supremacists and Walter Plecker and all the eugenics that he worked with. Marcus Garvey was cooning so much for the YT supremacists and kissing the ass of YT so much and denigrating and undermining our people so much that they created a movement called Garvey Must Go, where the black Americans were fed up with Marcus Garvey and they decided to get rid of him and ship him back to where he came from. So what kicked it all off also was the fact that Marcus Garvey created a ship called the Black Star Line, where he scammed out people in the creation of Black Star Line and tried to ship them off to Africa. Now, our people knew they wasn't from no damn Africa, so there was heavy opposition to it. He also got convicted for mail fraud also by selling shares through mail. Like all immigrant class, we got to understand the prerequisite to becoming an American as an immigrating to America is to be anti-black American and to bend the knee to YT supremacists. And so, yes, it's hard to hear for a lot of people, and a lot of Jamaicans may try to come at me, but Marcus Garvey was an anti-black American racist eugenics who wound up not even going to Africa. He wound up going with his white masters in UK and dying in UK.
So I've been doing a lot of deep dives over the past 2 days into Harlem and Harlem culture and the Harlem Renaissance and the way it was set up. Very interesting. I found a cool article that talks again about Harlem night culture, the best, greatest, largest black city in the world, where all the art and culture is, how worldwide people are imitating it and copying the culture of Harlem, are coming to witness and experience the culture of Harlem. And when it comes to black American music, which I like to dub myself an expert on, I've already read several articles talking about the constant crossing of cultural boundaries that should not have been set up. According to everybody, we are the untouchables, but white teenagers and white high society members, the cool posh people, it's always been the cool posh people, Caucasian society that's been jumping over the tracks and coming to the nightclubs in Harlem. A lot of the reason why jazz music and a lot of jazz bars were banned and constantly raided, because a lot of people were having issues with the amount of white people and what was going on over there in these clubs with a lot of the white people. Think about it. It's a Saturday night, Friday night, and your white daughter sneaks out with a group of her friends, and she's not heading in the direction of the teen center. That's that way. They haven't been spotted going that way. They've been spotted heading over the bridge towards Harlem. There's a reason why a lot of people had issues with the commotion, the excitement, and the influence black people were having in the time during the Harlem Renaissance. And I mean influence in every aspect of the way. And we were being attacked too. I found many articles showing that there is jealousy and there is a constant state of economic attack on the black people of Harlem during that time to try to stop their progress. So that's not what this article about. I want to read something very interesting over here about a certain Marcus Garvey, mass Black American indigenous people moving from the South up north and taking over. Next thing you know, a man pops up saying, wow, there's a lot of black people here. You know what we should all do? Go back to Africa. And how it's never worked. How they've been trying to shove this out of Africa lie onto us through different people for decades after decades after decades, and it's never worked. And it's going to show here, I'm going to zoom in, how it's never worked. And Mr. Marcus Garvey inevitably failed. It was a failed attempt, not by Marcus Garvey, but by others who were paying Marcus Garvey and controlling Marcus Garvey. Garvey was the original black nationalist and urged a back to Africa movement. By the way, he was a Jamaican immigrant. So he's the original black nationalist, but he came from Jamaica. Why wasn't Marcus Garvey in Jamaica telling all them to go back to Africa? Why did he have to come up to the hottest, most popular, most populated, most influential black city in America to do his work? Now, right off the bat, it talks about how Garvey was the original black nationalist, which makes no sense. If you were a black nationalist, why didn't you stay in Jamaica to do your nationalist work? Why'd you have to come all the way to Harlem to convince us to try to go back to Africa? But again, he urged a back to Africa movement. A black nationalist, the original one, they say, was urging people in a back to Africa movement, proclaiming himself provisional president of the Duchess of Knights of the Nile. Proclaiming himself provincial president of Africa, he created a colorful court of dukes and duchesses and knights of the Nile. Most of his followers, however, were swayed more by his championship of Negroism than by any desire to go back to Africa, because we don't come from Africa. This man, a Jamaican immigrant, didn't stay in Jamaica. He didn't go to Cuba. He didn't go to the other islands. He didn't go to Haiti, a ginormous black metropolis right next to him. He had to come all the way up to Harlem in the 1920s, and he had to convince black Americans, wealthy, influential, proud, prideful black indigenous Americans, to go back to Africa, right as Harlem was the most popular, troublesome, chaotic city for white people in America, something that they couldn't burn down, something that they couldn't erase and wipe out from history, something that they would have literally a civil war on their hands if they tried to burn Harlem down, if they tried to go and attack it like they did. So they sent this man up right at the time as go look at the Harlem Renaissance and go look at the black migration coming from the South, and what a good time it was from us, what a positive time from us. Here comes Mr. Garvey, skips Jamaica, skips Cuba, skips every state in between there, skips to Britain, skips the UK, even though that's where he should have been. And he immediately comes to Harlem, the biggest, most popular black metropolis in America during the Great Depression, at a time where black people were more influential than ever and being followed and being copied, and people, the high white society, was literally going over there and doing everything that they could with black Americans, copying them, studying them. Their control was very, 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 and our power and our influence was very, very strong at that time because of the state of the country and other things that were going on. And here comes Mr. Garvey. Damn, y'all's doing good. Let's go back to Africa. And as it says, most of his followers were not swayed by that let's go back to Africa fucking bullshit. They were just swayed more by his black nationalism. The fact that he loved being melanated, and the fact that he thought melanin was a positive trait and that we should be proud of it. Guess what happened to him after that? Garvey was opposed by the more conservative Negro leaders and was eventually convicted of mail fraud arising out of his many enterprises. He was deported in 1927. Nah, nigga, you go to Africa. You go back to Africa and you build it up. You go to Africa and you build that up, okay? Okay, Marcus Garvey? Because as you see here, decade after decade after decade after decade after decade after decade, they always send somebody new to try to get you to go back to Africa. Have you seen it's not a curse yet? Have you seen that this is not blatant witchcraft? Have you seen the out of Africa nonsense evolution tide theory conveniently allows the white man to place himself as indigenous and his Asian business partners indigenous everywhere around the world while sticking the Negro to one small part of the entire world? It's not rocket science. It's blatantly obvious that this is witchcraft, that this is a curse, and there's a very specific reason why every nation on earth dogpiles on black Americans the second we say we don't come from Africa, or the second we say we don't have anything to do with Africa, or we don't like Africa. We know why, but keep on doing it. Keep on exposing yourselves. How well did it work for our Jamaican brother here, Marcus Garvey? And once you know the truth about Jamaica and where a lot of Jamaican immigration came from originally, from whence they came. Whence the Black Irish of Jamaica. Sights and sounds of the largest Negro city in the world, New York's Harlem, were brought to the talking screen, and Thunderbolt George Bancroft's all-talking picture will feature the Liberty Program Tuesday. See, where even our culture was being put into the movies at the time. The largest Negro city in the world. Sights and sounds of the largest Negro city in the world, New York's Harlem, are brought to the screen. Y'all been trying to push this out of Africa evolution bullshit nonsense onto us for decades, and it's never worked. Not only has it not worked, we're looking at you guys, and you guys are exposing yourselves for who you are, because the continuous non-stop barrage and assault that we have to deal with every time we reject your godless heathen theory, which conveniently, like I said, places all white people and Asian people as indigenous on every continent in the world, and places the black man, the Negro, to one little part of a continent. Not even the whole continent, just one part of it. Nobody believes you. We see that you never try to go to other places and force this, just as Marcus Garvey skipped over Jamaica, his own home place, failed there, I guess, so he thought he would have better luck with the Negroes in Harlem, and then he got rejected there. As it showed you, they didn't follow him because he wanted to go back to Africa. He hid himself. He hid his true plan, and he started as a black nationalist. He started as somebody that was just pro-black. Somebody from another country that came here and just thought and was patting black Americans on the back, saying, you guys are doing such a good job. Look at how well you're doing. And then out of nowhere, he pulled in, but we should all be going back to Africa. And that's, again, when everybody left, when everybody stopped listening to him. It's never going to work. Ever, 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 ever going to work.
So we've already had a presence in the Americas for a long time.
Right there, brother. You're saying black people were here in America prior to the slave ships coming here.
And I ask audiences, there'd be 1,000 people who turn the lights on, and they'll say 12.5, 15% died, 10.7. How many came to the United States? And nobody ever guesses it.
In Mississippi, the majority of people enslaved in Mississippi and Louisiana were already there.
Wait. You telling me the first slave trade didn't come from Africa to America. They went from America to Spain.
And they are just still shocked at how small the numbers who came to the United States and how large the numbers came in south of Key West.
The number of sub-Saharan Africans who willingly migrated to the United States in the decade between 1990 and 2000 was larger than the total number of Africans shipped directly to the United States over the course of the entire transatlantic slave trade.